Hey everybody, welcome back. And in this lesson, what we're going to go ahead and do here is we're going to go ahead and start the process of blocking out the rest of the detail here that we need on our body. This is going to include the neck section, the deltoids here, also the back of our head, as well as our ears. So what we need to do is we need to come up with an idea of how do we actually want to go ahead here and shape out the rest of our body. Um, since we've really been going ahead and actually combining the three major different types of rhinos, let's go ahead here and take a look at another rhino that I want to go ahead and use to base out the neck here. Let me go ahead and just grab the image real quick. Okay, so this is an Indian rhino, and you can see here where like the sort of armor portions here are on the deltoids. But we really want to go ahead and get the neck like this. Also, the side of the face, since we're using a different style of horn, which is more towards like the African side of the rhinos, we want to go ahead and make sure that we block out this area for the body. Okay. To do that, all you're really going to need to do is just take and Google some images of an Indian rhino so that you guys can actually get and see what the neck actually looks like, as well as a side picture of the head. I don't believe I actually have any of those concepts here. I'm just taking a look here to see if I do. I do believe I do have some. Yep, here's one of them. Okay, so we need to make sure that we go ahead and sort of draw these lines in here, as well as the head portion, because it looks like almost like the head has been detached and then reattached. So there's a lot of void here. So what we want to go ahead and do is we want to make sure that we can put that onto the rhino. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started by doing that. So I'm just looking at the concept that we have on my other screen here. I'm just going to go ahead and grab my inflate brush, just turning the intensity down, and we'll just go ahead and make some very simple strokes here. Okay, and this is probably not going to be intense enough, so I want to go ahead and turn the intensity up, and that's probably going to be a little bit too much. Okay, so let's go ahead here and just start blocking that out. And you can block it out as you need or as you want. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead here and throw on the side of the head here as well. And we can even jump down a subdivision level or two and just grab our move topological brush and just start moving some of this stuff down, which might make it actually a little bit easier here. Well, we're not going to make it exactly like the picture, but we're going to try and come up with something that's going to be at least unique. Okay. We'll go ahead here and just turn our focal shift. We'll go ahead and pull some of this out here. Okay. And I want to make sure that I at least pull this out on the head far enough so that it looks like it's going to be like a suit of armor. Okay. Trying not to actually pull out where the eyes there are. Okay. Jump up a subdivision level there. And we'll just go ahead and inflate this area. Okay. But we'll also take some of this area back. And we'll probably have to smooth that out a little bit. Just making sure that we turn the intensity of that smooth down. And we'll just start building up here. And I'm just using the Move Topological brush here and looking at the image to try and come up with at least a decent idea. So we'll just continue our process here of sculpting. Just making sure that that intensity is going to be up high enough that it's going to allow me to move the mesh easy. Okay, so we'll go ahead and push this in. Take our inflate brush and we'll go ahead and take some of this out. It actually has to be fairly deep, so go ahead and just cut that in and smooth it out. Go in a little more. And jump up a subdivision level there. And it's going to take more than one stroke really to get the shape in there that you want. I'm just making sure that I smooth that out in a way that it's going to be decent and nice. Okay, so we'll go ahead and try and fatten this area up a little bit. Okay. And I want to go ahead and pull this area out a little bit more. Okay, go ahead and smooth that out if we need to. Go ahead and move this back a little bit. Try and poke that in there. Okay, so you can see where this is really starting to come along, and it almost looks like he has like a hood placed over him a little bit. So just want to make sure here that we get the shapes at least where we would want them to be. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and take my inflate brush and take a little bit more of this off. And you can see here where we're going to have a little bit of an issue with that mesh coming back through. That's fine. Just holding down shift to basically smooth that out. Shouldn't be too bad in terms of you guys actually getting that to work if you're doing this. But I would suggest that you guys actually do your own concept and your own general idea. That's the ultimate goal, is just to make sure that you guys are, really doing your own work. Okay, let's go ahead and just try and get this to be a little bit more rounded off a little bit. Maybe not necessarily too pinchy, and this looks like it's going to be a little bit too flat, so I want to go ahead and maybe pull this out a little bit, or maybe accentuate it just a little bit more by pushing it in. Okay, we'll go ahead and round this off a little bit more. Okay, let's go ahead and take our Damien Standard brush. And let's try and get a little bit more detail in here. Just by cutting back on the inside portion of these folds. And we can even, if we wanted to, maybe fatten this up just a little bit more. Just playing with our smooth brush. I don't want to smooth it out too much, but I want to make sure that there's really no tessellation there. Okay. Maybe we should fatten up the cheeks there a little bit. I don't know if that's going to work for me. Maybe we'll go ahead here and pull the chin down here. And maybe round this out a little bit. And we'll push the corner of the mouth here back up. Okay, so I think that's looking a little better there. Okay. Let's go ahead here and block in the area of the head. So we're just going to go ahead and just put two basic, very small bumps there. Okay. I also want to go ahead here and start blocking out the detail for the ear. So in the next lesson we'll go ahead and come back and do that one. I'm just going to go ahead here and make sure that we get the rest of the face shape here where I want it to be. So I'm just going to go ahead and pull out these cheeks just a little bit more. And maybe pull this area of the neck down a little bit. So you can see where if you work in sort of small strokes, you know, you can change the areas of the mesh and really manipulate the mesh into something that's actually pretty good looking. If you work slow, don't rush yourself. Rushing yourself probably end up coming up with something that's going to be a little bit weird. May not necessarily work either. So just make sure that you take your time. Okay, and I definitely have to smooth out that area there. So I'll just turn up my smooth intensity. Just go ahead and smooth that out. It's really no big deal. I'm going to go ahead here and take my Damien standard brush and cut on the outside of that. Anyway. Just making sure that I do turn that smooth back down there because I don't want to be smoothing everything out at 100%. So I think our head here is actually looking pretty good. Let me go ahead and just try and refine this just a little bit more here. Okay. Okay, so at this point I think our head is actually looking fairly good. In the next lesson we'll go ahead and come back and we'll go ahead and cut the detail in there for our ears and just work from there. So come on back, everybody.